We're edging closer to the confirmation of Todd Bewley's Chelsea takeover, Simon.
Yes.
Thomas Tuchel has been concerned about the amount of time that this has taken. Do you think, as others seemingly do, that Chelsea have fallen way behind others in terms of their summer rebuild? That this has held them up?
Have we had a history of Chelsea buying players in May? Is there a history over the 19 years that this club went into super levels of stratospheric spend?
Yeah, but they very much get their ducks in line. Chelsea are not once ever...
They can get their ducks in line now.
They don't waste time, though, Simon. They get on with business.
Okay, here's how it works in the real world. Our takeover is going to happen. It's likely to be that we're going to spend the same patterns as we spent before. In the event that manifests itself, would you, XYZ player, be interested in coming to Chelsea? Who stops those conversations? Who stops them? Do Chelsea sign players in May? Few people do, and there has been some indication of players being signed. Aston Villa signed a player already in May, but the majority of the time is the season finishes and you wind up now for your intellectual capital from your scouting network and your education by the season you've just participated in to now closing on the targets. Are you seriously telling me that everybody in Chelsea downed tools because they assume this club was never going to spend any money again?
No, but let me put it this way. Some big name players might look at it, might have been approached by Chelsea and say, do you know what, for the time being, no, I'm not going to go there because there's uncertainty.
Okay, but then in the event that the status quo maintains itself, we as Chelsea are just changing ownership. A lot of publicity around one owner going out, a lot of publicity about a new owner coming in. You've just seen this new owner is prepared to commit 1.75 billion on top of the 2.5 billion pound price. We've got new owners that are prepared to spend another 1.75 billion committed to doing it, right? So Chelsea's normal business. Now, would you like to come to Chelsea in the event that we want to sign you? Because it's going to be normal business at Chelsea. Those are the conversations that grown-ups would be having. Yeah, football people might be saying, I don't know what's going to happen. Where am I going to get my next £200,000 a week from?
But is that not the case? I mean, Tuchel's saying uncertainty behind the scenes.
Well,
they're getting left behind.
Football managers will tell you every reason.
There's evidence of this. Man City have signed up Haaland. Liverpool have got Carvalho through the door. Villa are after Kamara and have got him.
Got you. But
Calvin Phillips might end up at City.
Got you. Were Chelsea in for Haaland then?
There might have been in an ideal world.
Well, there's no indication that they were.
But they might have been.
And we always knew, everybody knew where Haaland was going.
And others are heading to the exit door. Rudiger, Christensen, Azpilicueta.
But we know all about those,
Alonso.
don't we? We've discussed those until we're blue in the face.
So you think this makes no difference whatsoever?
I don't think it's helpful. Of course it's not helpful. But I don't think it gives them an excuse and lay down the pipework for an excuse.
But it gives a player, it gives a top signing the excuse.
It gives you less.
Say, do you know what? No, there's uncertainty at Chelsea at the moment.
It gives you less certainty. But if you're really good at what you do, you're able to convince people in circumstances where it's less than ideal to come your way. There would have been a time when top players would have only signed for Liverpool because of the vision that might happen, not because of what was currently happening. When he rocked through the door, Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool weren't what they are now, were they? When he's made the signings that he's made during that period of time to bolster and boost the club to get them where they are, and there's some of them, and we'll go through them if you want, but they had to be convinced of the vision that Jurgen Klopp had. Now, Tuchel and his management team and his scouting network will have had a list of targets, a list of people that they want to get involved with, joining the club for the next season based upon their experiences of this season. They should have laid the groundwork, should have given these people an opportunity to say, look, it's very simple. Forget what you read. Here's what's going to happen. I'm staying at the club. Club's going to be taking over. People are going to spend 1.75 billion on supporting this football club. We're going to rock and roll. Timing will be post-May. If you're interested in coming to the club, we'll make a pitch for you. Now, if they do that, it gives them an opportunity. Now, of course, you can't legislate for other people stealing a march that have the ability to be fleet of foot.
Exactly.
But who are they then?
But it's just that this uncertainty...
Who are they then?
Has come from the club.
Who's
from within the club? It's come from Tuchel.
Who's fleet of foot? Aston Villa. Well, Chelsea aren't competing with Aston Villa. With due respect to Steven Gerrard and Aston Villa.
They might have been competing for Haaland.
I don't think they would have been.
They might have been.
Well, I think he was always going to Man City, and I think you're playing devil's advocate for the purpose of this conversation. He was always going to Man City. Always going to Man City.
It's Tuchel who's...
And so he's gone to Man City.
It's Tuchel who's expressing concerns,
yes,
Simon,
but you know how that works, don't you?
Because in an ideal world, Todd Bewley will take over and everything will be fine. Will you sign? Well, boy, there's incentivised conversation.
In an ideal world, in the real world where it's likely an outcome to be manifesting itself, that we will have new ownership, we will have a new direction that's the same as the one before, we'll spend money, we'll back our players, and we'll bring the best in class. If that environment manifests itself, we can deliver it in a time span, do you come and sign for us? Yeah. And now who have they lost? It's an excuse. Tuchel's laying down a framework because he's gone from, he's got flip-flopped every 5 seconds. Nothing to do with the players. Players shouldn't be taking any notice of this. Oh, hang on a second, the players are being affected by it. When you win a game, don't hear anything about it. When you lose a game, here's something about it. Yeah. Chelsea's season has been a disappointment, hasn't it?
Oh, it has.
Right.
And such is the turmoil I hear this morning. Thomas Tuchel might now not be taking a summer vacation. Boy, there's a hardship.
Indeed. Absolutely. I do feel for these people because obviously the working life of a football manager is consumed with heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Please, people out there, please don't believe this nonsense.
Don't book that holiday yet. I'm not going. There's work to be done. It's 11:15.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.